we're getting into these housing numbers as February closed out. It's the first show. As we always do the first show of the month, we recap the Connecticut housing market per the CTMLS. We've got all the data in, 100% of the data from February, and we're uncovering what that looks like. Chaz, where do we want to go next?
Let's go to closed sales, because I just looked at it and it's an interesting point. So we are down, call it 26% month over month from February or January to February, but February
Total transactions
across all property types, all price points. But what I thought was interesting is in February 2002, that was also the lowest closed sale. So dealing with the seasonality of the New England market. But we are only at 1,890 closed sales for the entire month of February, which is down from 2,569 in February 2022, which was the previous low point since they started tracking the data.
Right.
Well, no. That wasn't the low point. Just the last, that was the low point in the last 24 months. I mean, the low point, you got to go to January 2009, where we're at 1,300.
I missed that one. Yep.
So we're not in that territory for total sales. If you go January 2009, February 2009, we're in the 1300s. 2010, we're in the 1700s, which we're up a tick from that. 11, 1500, 12, 2012, 1500. So we're just above those numbers on total transactions, sitting at about 1900. We're down 26.4% on the year. Okay, on the year. So, certainly in 2022, the low point was also February because of the seasonality of just not having a lot of inventory. Same thing happened last year. We didn't have a lot of inventory. We just talked about that in segment one here, where we didn't have a lot of inventory last year. And so February, the inventory came later in the year. And, and we saw February, despite the interest rates being low, the least amount of sales due to that inventory.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. These closings, the way that they do it here is technically these houses could have went under contract 2 months ago, right? 45 days, 60 days ago.
December.
So
right.
So keep
that in the back of your mind when you're hearing these numbers. These are really deals that happen.
It's why I hate talking about closed sale data, because it's always 3 months old. That data in relative to what the activity reflected. I like what we covered in segment one, homes for sale, months of supply. It's an indicator of where the market is right now. We've got very little inventory. We're heading into March. We're hopeful to see more inventory so we can, have more of an affordable product on the market. To me, pending sales would be a little bit of a better indication of close. So let's go look at what's happening with pending.
So across all property types for February 2023, we had 2,447 pending sales, still down 16.3%, because in February 2022, we had 2,925. So only 500 less there, so not a huge drop-off, but still enough of a drop-off because we've been on a downward cycle since August where we had 4,245, and it's just continuing to tick down. So hopefully we are coming into that March timeframe where people are going to start thinking more about selling and getting outside in spring, and we're going to have our normal seasonality uptick for March, April, and May.
But it's interesting because, and I say this a lot during the show, I haven't had a buyer yet, I'm knocking on wood for those who can't see, that haven't stopped.
That'd be everybody listening to 94.9.
Everyone listening.
Except for John Fuller, because he sees all. This guy he's incredible. Shout out to Johnny, Johnny Boy, who owns Full Power Radio. He can see through the radio waves and every move you are making.
Oof, Big Brother's watching. But what I was saying was that I don't have any buyers that, since the rates have gone up, if they were kissing at 7%, they were over 7%, no one has stopped looking. I haven't had anyone take the bench. I have noticed I'm not getting as many calls, and this usually happens, right? It's kind of like Byron does his analogies. Here's mine. You're on a dance floor and the music's starting to change, and you're kind of unsure if it's going to be a slow song or a fast song, so you're kind of waiting. That's why I always notice when the rates go up so quickly, people kind of take a breath and wait to see what their numbers are looking like first. So, but I don't know. I mean, it just seems like that happens, and then we're back at it. They're like, okay, well, this is our price range now.
So, yeah, totally agree, and that's happening. Right now as we get into 7% interest rates again. So pending sales down 16.3%, but remember, inventory homes for sale was down 20%. So that's reflecting still strong demand. You can't buy what's not available on the market. So we still have pent up demand, certainly in the median and under price points with millennials in Connecticut. So very interesting there.
Well, and it ties back into, so transitioning into sales price, so median sales price and average sales price, we are actually, for median sales price against all property types, we are actually up 5%. And Byron, you mentioned that Connecticut is the only state or one of 2 states in the entire country that has not seen a price reduction yet.
Yeah, price decline in prices. If we look at the last 6 months, most major markets in America have, now experienced a decline, right? We had the housing reset from the Fed in the middle of 2022, and they jacked up the interest rates in most markets in America. That's reflected on prices. Not the case here in Connecticut. Now, you can break down each price range, and you might find some pockets, but generally speaking, in fact, if we go month-to-month basis, we ticked up from January to February, a little bit. Monthly, we're, up 2.2%. And if we go on a rolling 12 months on price, we're up 7.2%. If we look at the last 6 months, we're up 5.9%. And if we look at the last 3 months, we're up 1.8%. So every way you cut it, we have appreciation. Now, we definitely have slowing appreciation. These numbers were greater. I just meant, 12 months ago, for the last 12 months, it's 7.2%. Well, the last 3 months is up 1.8%.
Yeah.
So we're slowing and trending towards a flattening, which is why I tell people, if you're selling in 2023, now's the time, because we are flattening out, and what comes after getting flat is potentially losing some of this value that you've accumulated the last couple of years. So we are, like we said before, it's last call, right?
Right.
This is going to be the time to make that move if 2023 is in the cards for your life to make that move.